Welcome to My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Malerie as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to My Wellness Rewired. It is a great morning to talk about one of our favorite things, magnesium. And we're going to hear all the pluses, the minuses, and how beneficial it is, especially for women.
Yes, it's such an unsung hero, I feel like. Although I do feel like it's rising in popularity. A lot more people are talking about it, which is like, thank heaven, because this one I think is probably one of the most important biohacks that we can be doing. And from experience, this is probably one of the first ones that I discovered, and it was a life changer. So we're going to talk about what it does for the body, best ways to get it, what all the different types are, because there's a ton of them. And then talk about depletion, absorption blocking, and our experience with it. So, But first, we just got back from a family trip to Denver. And so I'm still trying to, using magnesium actually to try and get back into the swing of things at home. But man, that was such a cool trip. We all have to travel there, right? Because we all live everywhere. So it was awesome.
It was very awesome.
But I think my favorite was taking the kids for a hike, like getting out in nature. Colorado's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then some of us turned around and went to see Mumford and Sons at Red Rocks, which was like bucket list item for me. And can I just say, it's so rare to have an item that you're like, this is on my bucket list. And then you go and the experience is better than you expected, right?
Yeah. That's what Chris said.
Yes, it was magical. Yeah. Like I just every minute, and I was so aware of it at the time, right? I was like, this is like magic. Just soaked it in for that whole night. Like it was just, we were riding high when we finally got home at 1 a.m. because they changed the way that you pick up, which anyway is neither here nor there, but we ended up lost in Red Rocks in the middle of the night for a while. We didn't even care. We were just riding so high on how awesome the concert was. So.
Yeah. I love that.
But Larissa was good enough to watch my kids for me while we went, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was very fun. I loved it.
Yeah, it's always good to get out in nature. And then honestly, this is probably one of the first bucket list items I've crossed off officially on my list. And man, it did not disappoint. I'll tell you that.
I think when you have kids, your bucket list gets moved to the wayside and then you focus on family, and then once they get a little older, then you can start adding in bucket list things again. So it's fun. It was very fun.
It was. So now we're back. We're back and we're talking about magnesium today, which I'm very excited about. So
yes, I actually got started on magnesium because of you. You're the one who kept talking about it. And I was like, I guess I should try this.
Yeah, it was. And it's funny because when I first heard of it, it was, I was just talking to a friend. I was at a friend's house talking about how bad of migraines I would get and how much it was just interrupting my life. Like I couldn't do anything because I just would get migraines. And my other friend was listening and she worked for a neurologist. And she was like, the first thing that my doctor tells people when they're coming in with migraines is, are you taking magnesium? If not, start taking it. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll try anything.
That's random.
Yeah. I'm like, thanks for listening on our conversation. And I will try that. So
it's helpful in so many ways.
Then I gave it a try and it actually did. It not only did it help with the migraines, but I noticed it was helping with so many other things that I started to research it. I was like, this is actually really helping. And it turned out I was having things like muscle spasms, Charlie horses at night, right? I was having all these other symptoms that I didn't realize were related to magnesium deficiency. And it turns out, I think I've been having magnesium deficiency, Larissa, since childhood. Because I remember being 8 or 9 years old and, having that the slumber party with all the cousins, the girls' slumber party. We're all in sleeping bags wrapped up outside on the trampoline. I don't know what time it is. It's the middle of the night for sure. And I get this terrible Charlie horse in my leg. The one in your calf where the only way to relieve it is to stand up and put pressure. Yeah. But you're wrapped in a sleeping bag. I was in the middle too. So it was
so everybody was up as well.
Yeah. It was, everybody was aware of the situation. So anyway, I think back to that and I'm like, I clearly have been having headaches since then. And I'm like, I can't believe how much I struggled with that for so long without ever discovering magnesium until I was an adult in my categories. Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's part of growing up and like, putting everything in categories and trying to make sense of the world and our patterns and our bodies. And the more we understand our bodies, the more we can fix it. And so magnesium, you were really depleted in magnesium even as a youth then.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it just led to migraines. And I imagine that I naturally got it from my diet because I would go through spurts of time where I didn't have an issue, right? And so I just think that for whatever reason, I tend to be deficient, as my lab results showed when we talked about the lab work. I went in and they were like, "You're deficient." And I'm like, this is years after I started taking magnesium. And I'm like, how is it possible that I'm deficient? I take this every day. And they were like, well, you got to take more. So they gave me another supplement to kind of break it up, which is one tool we can talk about. But so I was taking some in the morning and some at night. And then I went back in for labs a year later and I was still deficient. I was like, this is crazy.
Did you change brands?
For the splitting it. So I was still doing the one every night, but then I added the one in the morning. And every time I went in, it was less deficient, but it was still not sufficient, right? So I was making improvement. And so I went in and they were like, you're still deficient. So then they were like, you got to get it through your diet too. So like I'm currently utilizing all methods of absorbing magnesium, which is why I feel very qualified to talk about this.
So what kind of things do you eat that will give you magnesium?
Okay, so that I focus a lot on like the dark leafy greens, like spinach, nuts is another one, chocolate, that's a great one, avocado. Those are like the core ones that I really focus on. I eat a lot of nuts, a lot of spinach, and it seems to be helping, honestly. I've been doing that for the last 6 months, and I'm going in next month to get retested. So fingers crossed that it's actually going to be at good levels. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I love lab work.
And then pumpkin seeds, I think, have the most magnesium in it as far as
they probably do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't eat pumpkin seeds. I should.
I don't either, but that made me think about it. I was like, oh, I should eat pumpkin seeds.
They taste good. I mean, I don't know why I don't.
But but going back to your lab work, that's the thing that most doctors say is that you need to get your R and B blood cells like tested, right? And because that's like one of the things that will tell you about your magnesium, and it's just one way. But you really have to figure out your body too, because it doesn't always reflect in accurately in your blood, but definitely getting your blood work is a good way to start. So when you got your blood work done, you were very deficient in magnesium, and that's where the doctor stepped in. And then when I got my blood work done, I was expecting it to be low because you were low, but I wasn't. But I do eat a lot of the things that magnesium comes in. Like I do eat a lot of dark leafy greens. I do eat a lot of almonds and nuts.
Yeah, you do.
And things like that. And I don't drink caffeine. Like caffeine is not my friend. So like that is a depleter. So I naturally don't get that depletion. And I don't drink I don't eat a lot of salt. So that's also a depleter. So I don't do either one of those.
Don't mind me while I just drink my caffeine while we talk about this.
So my biggest depleter is probably stress. So I need to focus on that.
Which let's talk about depletions, but maybe first we should talk about what it does for the body, because I mean, it's crazy how much it does. I mean, one way to think about it is magnesium's like the body's Wi-Fi router, right? It's just humming in the background. Everything's all good, connecting all the signals, muscles moving, heart pumping, nerves chatting, right? But when it's low, then everything buffers, right? Which is so obnoxious
and annoying.
Yes, like energy drops, cramps glitch, and your mood's like a spotty connection, right? Like magnesium just keeps the whole system online and streaming smoothly. And when you don't have it, right?
That's interesting, because even the lagging, because, it's like just subtle enough or you still get the internet. So you still have it, but then it's just lagging, so that everything is just more complicated and not running smoothly.
And more difficult, right? Everything's just more difficult, right? So because magnesium's involved in like over 300 processes in the body, right? And so it's huge for like your muscle support, for hormone balancing. It has a role in bone health and helping with absorption of vitamin D and calcium, right? They're all interrelated and are all key factors, right, for bone health. Heart health also, energy levels. I don't really know an area where it's not involved in some way, right?
Well, that's why I think it's such a huge important thing to talk about, because it's not something that our body makes naturally, but it is involved in so many processes in our body that if we are deficient, then it's not just one area, it's several areas. And so where you see it the most, where you start noticing it, is like just more severe than others. But if you're low in one area, you're going to be low in all of them. So it's just going to be impacting all of them.
Yes. And I've noticed that like when I'm trying to, implement new health hacks and things into my life and into my routine, if I'm not squared away on my magnesium, like it makes all of those things less effective, I feel like, right? Like it's kind of one of those, like you have to be hydrated, but you have to be sufficient in magnesium because your body relies on it so much, especially when you're working out or just in a high stress job, high stress life, like family, kids, career, like magnesium's so key. So, I mean, let's talk about things that deplete it, right? Or that can make it hard to absorb. Because I feel like that's the key reason why I've struggled with magnesium for so long is I clearly have a lot of factors that inhibit my ability to absorb or that depletes magnesium in my system, which is why I'm always low when I get tested. So it's stuff like when I was researching this, I was like, are you kidding me? It's like everything, like caffeine, sugar, too much fat, being too stressed out, right? Cortisol can affect your ability to retain. But I was also reading like high fiber. If you have too much fiber in your system, like if you're in your diet, it actually binds to magnesium and makes it less available. Like, well, this is crazy.
And processed food is not good. So you got to stick with more whole foods and processed foods. And for you specifically, sauna, because when you sweat, you sweat it out. So you're either peeing it out or sweating it out.
Yep. And all of these things have an effect. So I feel like it's a constant battle of like things that are depleting it and then trying to replace it sufficiently. And a lot of things are that deplete it are healthy things, but then a lot of them are not. So I find that the less processed food I'm eating, the better I feel, and the less I feel like I'm depleting that. I feel like that's a big thing for me. Like when I was a kid, I was a sugarholic, right? And I feel like that could have been part of the problem because I just wanted sugar everywhere. It was.
And you were so cute. We all gave it to you a lot.
Not enough in my opinion, but I'm just kidding.
That's so funny.
Which is funny because my daughter is exactly the same way. And I'm like, man, you are fierce about your sweets. And I'm like, this is probably what I was like.
That's funny. Yeah, you've always been a sugar lover.
Yeah. But you know what? I think my 2-year-old's the same way. So I think I have 2 of them, which is going to be rough. I'm not going to lie. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
you
just
keep their magnesium levels up.
Well, you just have to make it less available to them so they can't develop that severe.
And I also really am like trying to teach them like from a young age how to manage that. Because I really do think people have like a sensory preference versus a sweet preference, right? And so like my husband and my son, they don't like sweets that much. They like them, but then they mostly like the savory, salty.
Me too.
Right? And you're the same way. Yeah. But whereas like I, myself and my 2 daughters, like we prefer the sweet side, but the way that it really turns out in the healthy world is we love fruit. And if I don't have fruit in my diet, like I feel worse. Like I just feel better eating a lot of fresh fruit. And I think that's the translation is that processed sugars and sweet things are so available and they give you such a great like dopamine reward that you tend to go there. But really, I just think it means that my body specifically needs more fruit in my diet versus like, Chris could take it or leave it, right? And he is like a big meat guy, right? A meat and cheese guy, whereas I'm like a fresh fruit, wine girl. Just kidding.
So anyway. I agree with you. I do like more of the just fresh vegetables and fruit, and that's always, if that's available to me, I will always go that route.
But that is what I'm trying to teach my girls is I'm like, look, like when you feel like this and all you want is just something sweet, like let's just start with fruit, and then we'll work from there because a lot of times that satisfies that craving in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's neither here nor there when it comes to magnesium, but I did think it was interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the types though, because this is the tricky part. I know that when I first started, I think I started with like magnesium citrate or something because I didn't know anything about it. I just grabbed one and I feel like that's a really like readily
common
available.
Thing.
Yes. But it turns out
she had that. I was like, no, wrong one.
Yeah, that one can cause, it's great for, I think that's the one that it's great for when you're constipated, like it can help regulate your system, but it can also cause problems if that's not a problem, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what she was experiencing. And I probably shouldn't say this, but that's what she was experiencing. So I was like, oh, that helps with that. So if you are not regular, that is perfect to take. And it's a natural way to help you with that. But I was like, among other things. Glycinate. The glycinate is the one where it's like the overall one that's more gentle on your stomach and it's just an easier take in general, but it will help with your sleep, your relaxation, and the recovery part.
Exactly.
But what brand do you take? You take one that has like how many in it?
It has 7 different kinds. Basically, all of the types that provide benefits for our body that are most readily absorbable in the human body is put into one supplement. And I feel like brand does matter because over the last 5 or 6 years, I've tried several different brands. Either because like I ran out of one and I had another one on hand, or whatever the reason was, I've been trying them. But then I was listening to Jen Stevens' podcast, The Intermittent Fasting Stories, which I love.
Yeah, me too.
She mentioned the Bioptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. I mean, if it's got all 7, it's probably better than just taking one. And I loved it. But the funny thing is I did it for years, and then I switched. I ran out of it, and I was like, I had a subscription, so I had a couple weeks between when the next one would come. So I just had another one on hand that I switched to. It was the one I was taking during the day. I just started taking that during the day and at night, and I noticed a huge difference. Like, it wasn't as effective in like treating like my restless legs and my muscle spasms. Like, I could feel the difference in just switching brands. It's a good balance for me to do Magnesium Breakthrough. And the other one I'm doing, I think, is Magnesium Glycinate, and it's the I'll put it in the show notes, the brand, because I can't remember that one. That's one that my doctor recommended, which I think is a really good brand.
I would go between, I have 2 different types, Thorn and the Pure Encapsulation.
Oh, yes.
Which had a high rating on Supco. So
ooh, I love that app.
I know, me too.
Thorn is the one that I'm taking in the mornings. Yeah. And then I take Magnesium Breakthrough at night. And those 2 things, I feel like it's great to take it at night because it helps with like muscle relaxation and general relaxation. Mm-hmm. So I take it before I go to sleep, and it really helps my sleep. And that's what you noticed, right? Is when you started taking it, you were sleeping better?
Well, I'm actually a really good sleeper. So I wasn't really taking it to sleep. I was more of like, you said you were low. So I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And just to see before, because I started taking it before I had my blood work done. But even then, I'm so glad I take it. But the difference, the thing that like affected me the most was like, I go to sleep really well if I don't have caffeine. Let's rephrase that. If I don't have caffeine, I go to sleep really well. And then when I wake up, I like wake up. Like, I don't need to push snooze. Like, I don't need to like struggle in the morning. Like, when I take it, like, I'll go to sleep. And then when it's time to get up, like, I'm awake. As long as I have like, at least a 7-hour sleeping window, like I'll like wake up. But if it's like 4 hours, I might not be like that. But if it's enough sleep, like, it's crazy. And so I love that. Like, makes you alert. Like, as soon as you wake up, you're just like, okay, I'm ready to get up and start the day. Like, there isn't like, oh, it's not that morning grog of like, oh, let me push snooze one more time. Let me do that. So that part has been really nice, especially like for work and different things. Like, you just wake up and you're like, okay, I'm ready to start the day. Let's get up and get going.
Well, that is so true. That's super cool. I do not get that benefit, but I'm also still deficient. So, but I do feel like being able to sleep without like muscle spasms waking me up. And I was even having a little bit of insomnia, not a lot, but just a little bit. And I feel like all of that would make, and I'm just such a heavy sleeper now. I mean, I've always been a heavy sleeper, but this, like, it was getting interrupted. The other thing I noticed, and this was a huge tip, is using it while I was pregnant. Because when I was pregnant, my muscle cramps and Charlie horses were way worse. Everything was just amplified. Yeah. And so I really heavily relied on this while I was pregnant, and it made a huge difference. And when I added, which we can talk about the ways that you can get it, one of the ways is through your skin, right? If you're already supplementing and you're trying to get it in your diet, it's not working, or if you just feel like it's an especially rough week where you've like worked out really hard, your muscles are really sore, your aches, whatever the reason, if you do like a magnesium bath soak, right? You can get the magnesium Epsom salt. Yeah. And we use that in our household a ton, but we also found an organic magnesium lotion. And when I was pregnant, I would put that on my feet and my legs every night. And it just was amazing. Like, it just made my muscles so relaxed, and I could just sleep even when I was like 9 months pregnant. So that was fantastic. And I still use that for me when I just feel like a little bit of like twitchy, restless legs, which I have a lot of. But also my kids, if they're really just crazy and it just seems like they can't settle, especially with their growing pains, like if it just feels like they talk about their legs bugging them, I'll use some of that a little bit on their feet and legs, and it really helps.
Yeah, because there's sprays like where you can spray it. Like, if you can spray it on your stomach, if your stomach has an upset stomach, or you can spray it on a muscle cramp or anything like that, you can spray it. And I love that through the skin absorption, or the lotions. Then you can take a supplement, or you can eat fresh vegetables and fruits and food with magnesium rich, or you could take an Epsom salt bath. And if you're an athlete or you need muscle recovery because you maybe went on a big long hike and your muscles are sore, or like for your kids, if they're athletes and they're in sports, like you can have them take an Epsom salt bath, and that's just a natural way to recover. It's great.
Yeah, it really is. I love it. I am toying with the idea of an Epsom salt magnesium scrub, like a body scrub for like exfoliation purposes. Like, don't you think that I want to make my own. I want to see if I can make my own, because I feel like I need to exfoliate, right, regularly.
Yeah.
And so if it has magnesium in it, right, then because I'm not a big bubble bath girl. Funnily enough, my husband is a big bubble bath guy. And so I always get him like bath salts and stuff, but I don't ever use them because I don't like to sit. I don't know. I'd rather just get in the hot tub.
I'm much more of a shower person than a bathtub person.
Yes. So if I could use it and be able to soak it in through the skin in the shower, like that would be great. So I feel like a scrub would be a great way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought about that. That's interesting. So it'd be interesting to see if it absorbs, like scientifically, it would be interesting to see like if it absorbs more, because when you're doing a scrub, you're getting rid of the old, but like it would be interesting if you put in the new.
Yeah, I know. I've done zero research, but I do feel like that would work. I mean, if you think about soaking in the water versus like scrubbing on your skin and letting it sit before you rinse it off, like it might even be a better absorption rate. You never know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either or, it's either going to be like better or whatever,
Yeah, we're going to have more research to come. We will let you guys know.
We're creating our own products as we think about things that we want.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm tired of trying to find a good brand that doesn't have a ton of stuff that's actually poisoning you. So I'm just going to make it myself.
That is so true. There's so many things like when you learn and you're like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And then so you look at what things you use, right? And you're like, that has it, that has it. I was like, oh, what can I use?
Oh man, the biggest hitter was like the Johnson & Johnson baby products that they're like, oh, these are actually kind of toxic, and you've been putting it on your babies. And I'm like, what the heck?
I put them on mine good thing I didn't know. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
It doesn't count if you don't know.
I'm in the middle of using them when I found out. So I'm like, great, but I have switched. So that's good. Okay, that's so funny. Types again, let's just refresh. Magnesium glycinate is best for relaxation, sleep, and hormonal support, and also less likely to cause digestive issues, like we talked about. Citrate supports digestion. That's the one that helps with constipation. And then magnesium threonate enhances brain function and mood, ideal for women with anxiety or cognitive concerns. So those are the notes that I made. But there's so many other types. So those are just like the main ones that we flagged.
Yeah, the three main ones. And in our cheat sheet that we have, I don't want to say cheat sheet, but that's what I call it. It's like guidance, our guide sheet. Yes. And that we just basically summarizes the talking points that we learned in a quick one-sheeter. Yes. It talks about those three main types because there are so many different types. So that's why the brand that you use, I just use specifically glycinate, but I really am debating on switching over. The more we do the research, the more I'm like, oh my, what? Like when you talked about the internet, going haywire, I was like, maybe I should switch over to all 7, because maybe I might not be low in one area, but I'm low in another area. So that
is kind of nice. Upgrade your Wi-Fi, Larissa.
I need a faster modem.
Yeah, for real.
I need that transfer to go quicker.
Yeah. My idea, I mean, the thing I like between the 7 different types is I feel like whatever type I might be deficient in will be provided, right? So I really like it, but also just based on use. Like, honestly, it actually scored lower in the Subco app than some of the other like Thorn and Pure Encapsulations. But I'm like, but based on actual usage, I just feel like I respond better to the magnesium breakthrough.
Well, but the ones with Thorn and Pure Encapsulations, it has one type, so you would have to get 7 pills to take one. Whereas I thought I like the bio optimizers because it has all 7 in one pill. Like that to me was like, ooh, that's way easier.
Yeah, all 7 in 2 pills. Yes, so it's like a 2-pill dose. But it's really nice because it's a high dose too. So I take 2 a day, and that's 500 milligrams of magnesium, which is what the neuroscientist guy, told his assistant, told me is what he recommends was the dosage for migraines. And so I took that. But then the Thorn one is only like, if I take 2 pills, I think it's like 180 milligrams, which was perfect for supplementing with, you know what I mean? And then I split it up once morning and once night so that I'm likely to absorb more by splitting up my dosage,
Well,
right?
that's a good idea to split up. I don't split it up. I should split up, and I don't take as much because I'm not low on magnesium. So
Right. Yep.
I don't, yeah. So it depends on if you're low or not. And
Yep.
then what do you like? Do you combine it with vitamin D and B6 for max uptake, or do you take it separately? You know how for absorption, like if you combine different things, like one of the things with magnesium, if you combine it with vitamin D or vitamin B6, then it will help with absorption.
Right. Whereas if you take it with zinc or calcium at the same time, then you're competing for absorption, right?
Yeah.
So that can be one of the depletion, or you could be taking it and you're just peeing it out because it's just, there's a lot of competition there. So the time that you take it does matter. I usually take it at night, and then I take my multivitamin at night. So I am getting my B vitamins, but I should look in my multivitamin and see how much zinc is in it, because that could be, I might need to spread those out. The one in the morning, I just take by itself. So that one has no competition, but also it has no help. So I have to think about that. That's a good thing to think about.
I have to take my vitamins at lunchtime because I can't, it gives me too much energy. It makes it so I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So that's impressive that you can take your multivitamin at night.
I have since I was pregnant, because it was my least likely time to throw it up. And that habit just kind of stuck, that it's like I never forget it because I always take it in bed right before I go to sleep. It might not be helping my sleep quality. Like I might be better to move it to during the day. The problem is remembering to do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
when I
it's
work,
still a work in progress.
When I go to school, like it's easier because then I'm like, okay, when I have lunch, then I take my vitamins,
routine,
and then it gives me,
right?
Yeah, and then it gives me my boost. But summertime, it's like, no.
Yeah, it's just a wild world in the summer, man.
Yeah, it's like you just carry it around with you and then hope that you remember.
Yeah.
Whatever
But then if
adventure
I
you're on
don't
that
take
day.
it, I'm sorry. So then it's like,
yeah,
it's
you
tough.
definitely
I do
get
try
to
to
the point
take
where,
AG1 during the day though. So I feel like that, and I take that and a multivitamin. So I'm probably
I
okay.
do feel like you notice it once you start taking it. I do feel like you notice it when you don't take it, and you're just like, whoa, what a difference that made.
Yeah, like it's like having good internet, right? You finally get good internet and you realize how bad it was before.
Yeah, I don't want dial-up. I want
Nope.
high speed.
That's right. High speed wireless internet.
And then one of the things to avoid, just because of people I know, is like do not take magnesium if you're in kidney failure. So if you have kidney issues, consult your doctor. Well, you should consult your doctor on everything, but specifically for that. And then a lot of times other medication you're taking might not help you absorb it. So that's another thing. Talk to your doctor about the medication you're on. And then if you do take it and you may have loose stool, then maybe you're overdosing, maybe cut back, or it might be the type. Maybe switch the type.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair assessment.
So don't give up on it. The reason I say that, don't give up on it. But there are those three things. But other than that, it's a very harmless supplement, a mineral. It's a mineral that you can easily take, and it will rewire you. It will completely reset you in a fun way.
It's a fundamental, right? You got to be hydrated. You got to have your minerals. And then everything else that you do, I feel like has greater results because you've squared away your foundational things, right?
Yes, yes.
Got to hit the foundations.
It's amazing, and it's very, very helpful, and it is great for your body, and everybody needs it. Everybody. Your kids need it.
Everybody needs it.
Your husband needs it. Your boyfriends need it. Like everybody needs it.
Yep. Listen to the woman. She's smart. Okay, I think that's all we have for today. We will include the reference sheet in our show notes. Also go to our website, mywellnessrewired.com. If you go to this episode, it will be available for download there. It is phenomenal. I love that thing. I refer to it all the time just to keep the types clear, and just to kind of like the food references actually has been what I've been using it for a lot lately, is trying to remember, okay, what are all like pumpkin seeds? Forgot about that. So I need to refer to the reference sheet again.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that even in like emergency rooms, and like when you go in and you're crashing or you're pregnant, like, and you go in for preeclampsia and all different things, like the number one thing that they give you is a dosage of magnesium through your IV. Yeah. So it's like, it's important. It's very important. And if they use it in the hospitals, like we need to like help ourselves through our daily lives.
Well, yeah, it's what's our mantra? Know your body, own your health. Like, that's what we do. That's what we're all about.
And everybody's different.
Yep. But give it a try. Let us know what you think in our Facebook group, My Wellness Rewired. And we'll catch you guys next time. That's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep, we are not doctors. We are just two gals sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always, always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So keep experimenting, keep glowing, and join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.